Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Morning.
Please state your name and spell your last name for the record.
It's Amanda Conlon, C-O-N-L-O-N,
And how are you employed?
Sheriff's Office, crime scene.
And how long have you been so employed?
16 years.
And can you explain generally your duties as a crime scene technician?
To document the crime scene through photos, video, sketches, collect evidence, process evidence.
And did you obtain any education that helped you with that position?
Yes.
And what was that?
I went to St. Petersburg College for crime scene.
And did you get training once you began working with the Sheriff's Office?
Yes, we're sent to training all the time.
And so that has continued?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to draw your attention to September 27th, 2020. Were you working that evening?
Yes.
And were you asked to respond to a scene at 11331 White Rock Terrace?
Yes.
And is that here in Manatee County?
Yes.
And do you know approximately what time you arrived there?
About 8:28 that evening.
And were law enforcement officers on scene prior to your arrival?
Yes.
And without telling me what you said, did you speak to them to kind of find out what was going on?
Yes.
After speaking to them, what, if anything, did you do first?
I went next door to the neighbor to collect a gun.
And are these single-family homes?
Yes.
And where was the neighbor's home in comparison to the home at 11331?
Right next door.
And did you, in fact, go over there?
Yes.
Okay. And did you retrieve a firearm?
I did.
Who did you retrieve it from?
From the homeowner?
Was that a Mr. Saint or Sant?
Yes.
And did a law enforcement officer accompany you to secure the firearm or make it safe?
Yes.
Okay. And who was that?
Ackerman?
And did he, in fact, secure it?
He did.
Okay. And did you observe it to be loaded?
Yes.
And did you observe what type of what caliber it was, and or what type of ammunition was contained in the firearm?
It was a .45, and Hornady was the brand of the bullets.
Hornady?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Did you at some point enter the home at 11331?
Yes.
And was that as a part of the execution of a search warrant?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the first thing you do when you enter a crime scene?
Start taking photographs.
And do you document the entire scene first with the photographs?
Yes.
And then after you have documented the scene as it lays, what's the next thing that you do?
Then I would place down evidence markers of evidence throughout the house.
And those are the yellow tents that we often see in these photos?
Yes.
Okay. And is that the process in which you followed in this case?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been pre-marked as states 2 through 19. Will you review these and tell me if you recognize those items?
Yes, I recognize them.
And how do you recognize them?
They're photos that I've taken.
And with the exception of number 3, I believe that's a floor plan.
Yes.
And as far as 2 and 4 through 19, do they appear to accurately depict the scene as you saw it the night you were there, September 27th, 2020?
Yes.
And then as to number 3, does it appear to accurately depict a portion of the home as you recall it from when you were there in September?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time the state would ask to enter states 2 through 19.
Got no objection. Received.
Thank you, Your Honor. So let's first look at states 2, and I'm going to display them digitally before you. And can you tell me what we see here in states 2?
Let me just ask, instead of turning down the lights, Ms. Conlon, are you able to see these sufficiently?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a little difficult with the lights on. for us to see it.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. I didn't want anybody nodding off.
Thank you. Ms. Conlon, I'm going to give you a pointer.
And again, sir, if you need to reposition anywhere around the courtroom, wherever you need to go to see, please feel free.
Ms. Conlon, what is it that we see here in States 2?
It's a firearm.
And what firearm is that?
I believe it is the 45.
And is that it's back in your lab as opposed to when you collected it in the home? Is that correct?
Correct.
And we see a magazine. It appears to have ammunition in it.
Yes.
And then the firearm, which has been locked back, and a holster. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then there's one round laying in this picture. Would that be if it had been in the chamber?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to show you States 3. This is the floor plan we talked about a moment ago. It's not the complete home, is that correct?
Correct.
When you entered the home, how did you enter?
I entered through the garage, which would be right in this area.
So that the laundry room has what appears to be 2 doorways. The bottom one would be an exit to the garage.
Yeah.
So when you approached the home, you walked through the garage?
Yes.
And what observations did you make, if anything, of the driveway or the garage as you entered?
There was a U-Haul truck. There was a pod there. There was boxes. You could tell they were moving.
And when you entered the home, did the home appear to be furnished, or did it appear as somebody had already completed much of a move out?
There was still a couch in there. There was still some furniture, but the majority was being boxed up and everything.
And we see 2 bedrooms here. Were there only 2 bedrooms in this home?
No, there's a third one, and it's past the living room and kitchen. So
Which would be the top of this picture.
yeah,
correct?
it would be up there.
And how would you categorize that bedroom?
The master bedroom.
And then we have 2 bedrooms here on the left, one being a child's bedroom and then one being Miss Benefield's bedroom. As far as you know, is that accurate?
Correct.
What did you enter the room called the child's bedroom?
Yes.
And what about it made you believe it was a child's bedroom?
Because it had kids' stuff in it, kids' clothing.
Did you find anything of evidentiary value in that child's bedroom?
No.
Did you enter the bedroom that we have on this floor plan marked as Miss Benefield's bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And did you find things of evidentiary value in that bedroom?
Yes.
And did you document that bedroom in the remainder of these states' evidence?
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. What I'm going to show you first is States 4. Oh, sorry. Can you describe what we see here in States 4?
I'm in the corner in the back, just taking overalls. There's blood on the floor, and there's a bullet hole right here.
And I think we have a close-up of that bullet hole once you marked it.
Yes.
That hallway there, is that the hallway we saw on the floor plan that adjoined that child's bedroom?
Yes.
Thank you. And what is on the other side of this wall where you said there's I think you can actually see the bullet hole there, and then there's a socket on the wall. What's on the other side of that wall?
The bathroom.
This is States 5. Is this the same area in the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. And the item or the area there, that's a closet with the bifold doors?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And when you entered the room, was the mattress up against the wall like that?
Yes.
Okay. Had anything been moved or touched to your knowledge prior to you taking the pictures?
No.
Where are you standing in this is State 6. Pardon me. Where are you standing when you take this photo?
I'm in the doorway.
Where the one we saw, the bathroom would have been on your right?
Correct.
Okay. And we see tent markers here, 1 through 6. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you tell me what was that tent markers 1 through 4.
1 through 4 are casings.
And did you collect those items?
Yes.
And do you remember the caliber of those casings?
The 45.
And were they also the Hornady?
Yes.
Okay, I think I'm saying it wrong, but.
I might be saying it wrong too.
And then I see here, there's a black tripod thing there in this top picture. What is that?
It's a light.
Okay. And that's something you placed or another crime scene tech placed there?
Yes.
Okay. And how about number 5? What is that tent marker number 5, which is near that tripod?
A projectile.
And then number 6, what is number 6 marking?
Blood.
I'm going to show you states number 7. Is this the projectile you said was at state or at number 5?
Yes.
Okay. And did you collect that item?
Yes.
Now states 8, I think you're looking back towards that wall in the hallway. Is that correct?
Yes.
And can you tell me what it is at state 7?
A hole right there.
Okay, and I'm just going to zoom in so you can. And there appears to be something below it other than your sticky number 7.
Yes.
And what is that?
It's a ruler.
Is that just for scaling?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Did you find any other holes other than state 7? There was a, what did you call it, a bullet hole?
Yes.
Yes. Did you find any other holes that corresponded with state 7?
Yes.
Okay, and so can you tell me about those?
So they would be in the bathroom, in the cabinet. So I marked the one after that 8. Then 9 was the exit hitting the cabinet door. And then 10 is the actual on the other side of that cabinet.
So 8 would have been the back of the cabinet?
Correct.
The
Yes.
opposite side of 7?
Yes.
And then it traveled through the cabinet door, which you did as 9 and 10?
Correct.
And then did it ultimately land or strike somewhere and come to a stop?
Yes.
And where was that?
It's right outside the bathroom door.
So I'll show you states 9. Is this the frame of the bathroom door?
Yes.
And if you could just tell us what we see here.
It's going to be the projectile inside that hole.
And you marked that 11.
Correct.
This is states 10. What do we see here in states 10?
The trajectory rods, just to show the path of the bullet.
So those are something you placed there to make sure that was the same bullet that went through those holes at number 7 and 8, 9, and 10?
Correct.
And did you ultimately dig the projectile out of tent marker 11?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe states 11 is a close-up of that hole prior to your digging it up. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then what do we see here in states 12?
That's the bullet that I dug out at 11.
Thank you. Did you find any other holes anywhere else in the home?
Yes.
Okay. And where was that?
The living room.
And did you document that?
Yes.
I'm going to show you states 13. Can you kind of orient us in the home? Or if I can switch back to the floor plan if it would help. But.
No, that's the front door by 16. So it's like right in the living room area.
And now that wall that we're looking at, is that, I see a window, so that's an exterior wall of the home?
Yes.
And where would the bedroom be in this photo? Or not in this photo, but where would the bedroom be in comparison to where this photo is taken?
Behind me.
And what is this small brown item? I believe we see it in states 14.
It was struck by the bullet.
And it's some kind of canvas thing?
Yes.
Okay. So this is states 14. And then states 15, is that the bullet that traveled into the living room wall?
Yes.
And you collected it?
Yes.
I'm going to just go back to states 3. If you could kind of show us on this diagram where that bullet strike was.
It would have been right here.
So that's the door we saw and the window we saw
Right.
the corner of.
Yes.
Thank you. Did you find and collect any other firearms in this home?
Yes.
And how many?
2 others.
And where were they located?
One was in the bedroom with the blood, in the closet, in a backpack.
And so I'm showing you state 16. Is this the closet you're talking about?
Yes.
And where's the backpack?
Right there.
And then I believe state 17, is that the firearm in the backpack?
Yes.
Thank you. Did you find, you said you found 2?
And then one was in the kitchen pantry.
And I'm showing you states 18. Is this a portion of that kitchen pantry?
Yes.
Okay. And where was the firearm?
It was below that picture. Yes.
And so that's we see a basket here, and then this is another
That's
basket.
when, yeah, that's when, yeah.
And so states 19, that's a firearm.
Correct.
Okay. And you collected both of them.
Yes.
Thank you. Were they both loaded?
Yes.
Did you locate any cell phones in this home?
Yes.
And did you collect them?
Yes.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as states 20 and through 22. Judge, these are entered by stipulation number 2. But are these photos you've seen before?
Yes.
And is it your understanding that they were taken by first responders when the victim was still on scene?
Yes.
And I didn't ask you, but when you arrived, had the victim already been taken away by EMS, to your understanding?
Yes.
Okay. Were you ever given any information by law enforcement to help you in your investigation about why there was a drag mark?
Yes.
And what was the information that you were given?
That's they had pulled him out to start working on him.
Okay. And is it your understanding these pictures were taken in the bedroom prior to that?
Correct.
Your Honor, they were entered by stipulation, but the state would ask to publish.
All right.
20 through 22.
Ma'am, can I please have
Oh,
20 to
I'm
22?
sorry.
I have them here if you want on the screen or not, either which way.
I can look at them here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
On the night of the incident, did you have any involvement with the defendant, Ms. Benefield?
Not that night, no.
And was it your understanding that another crime scene tech took photos to document her appearance on that night?
Yes.
And who was that?
It was Megan.
And Your Honor, I believe these are entered by stipulation number 4. But Ms. Conlon, would you take a look at states 23 through 26 and tell me if those are the photos you understand? It's Megan Dvorak, is that
Correct. Yes.
she took those?
Yes, these are Megan's pictures.
And Your Honor, the state would ask to publish them. Would you like me to do it on the screen, or would you like to just look at them?
You can just reach them to me. Oh, gosh. Just to confirm, there you are. 20 to 22 and 23 to 26 are stepped in.
Yes.
All right. They'll be received.
Thank you, Your Honor. And Ms. Conlon, later, were you asked to document Ms. Benefield's appearance again?
Yes.
And do you recall what date that was?
It was the 1st.
Of October?
Yes.
And where did you go to do that?
At the sheriff's office.
And did you, in fact, take photos of her?
I did.
I'm going to show you states 27, 28, and 29.
Yes.
And are those the photos you took of her on October 1st, 2020?
Yes.
And do they appear to fairly and accurately depict her appearance that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, the state would ask to enter 27 through 29.
Any objection?
None, Your Honor.
Received?
And while you were there, did you observe any injuries to her body?
Some scratches, light bruising.
And this is 27, is that taken October 1st?
Yes.
And then this is 28, are those the scratches you were talking about?
Yes.
And 29?
Yes.
Did Ms. Benefield complain of any injuries to you that night?
She never spoke.
Thank you. I don't have anything further, Judge. The defense may.
And Judge, I just want to correct something before the defense does cross. The picture that came in as State's Exhibit number 2, it was my fault. I switched the pictures on accident. That firearm is the one that was found in the backpack in the closet, not the one that was found in the neighbor's house. But all the testimony about the neighbor's house and the gun being at the neighbor's house is accurate. It's just the picture is a different gun.
Okay. And are you going to need the pictures, or do you want the lights back up?
I think for right now, we could have the lights back up, Your Honor.
Absolutely.
I may request that they go down.
Just let us know.
Do you want the hard copies?
No, Jack. Deputy Colon,
I'm not a deputy, just as a crime scene tech.
crime scene tech. How shall I address you, Miss Colon?
Yeah, that's fine.
I have a few questions for you. No heavy lifting. I first want to ask you about crime scene. Your purpose as a crime scene technician is to arrive and document as accurately as possible the circumstances that you find.
Yes.
And traditionally, ideally at least, you should be the first one that enters the crime scene, if you will, so that what you document is an accurate depiction of how it existed at the moment.
Correct.
All right. In this instance, that wasn't particularly possible, correct?
Correct.
All right. And in fact, before you arrived, Douglas Benefield, who subsequently was deceased, he was moved in an effort to be worked on by not only the deputies on the scene when they first arrived, but by the EMS people as well.
Yes.
All right. So in your documentation of this scene, anything that might depict certain things could have been modified based upon prior efforts inside the crime scene.
Correct.
Now, you told us approximately, I realize going from memory is difficult. Did you write supplementary reports?
I did.
Okay, do you have them with you today?
I do.
Good. Can you tell us approximately, feel free to refer to your notes if necessary, can you tell us approximately what time you arrived on the scene?
Approximately, it was 8:28
8:28
in the evening.
in the evening,
Correct.
PM.
PM, yes.
And your reports, Ms. Colon, would they document what time the incident was reported or alleged to have occurred?
Not in my report, but I had the notification time that I was called, which
Yep.
was going to be 19:37, which is 7:37 p.m.
7:37.
Correct.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that notification to crime scene goes out pretty much immediately.
Correct.
All right, because once again, you want to be first on the scene to be able to preserve it.
Correct.
Okay, so in this case, assuming that the incident occurred sometime close to 7:37, you arrived approximately an hour later.
Correct.
All right. You said something in your direct testimony that was interesting. You had entered the residence pursuant to a search warrant.
I have to wait for the search warrant. The residence I entered was the next door neighbor's residence
Yes.
to collect the gun. But
Yes, but for purposes of the incident where the shooting took place, you entered after being notified that the search warrant had been secured.
correct.
Okay. So this is what I want to establish. If you got notified of this incident at 7:37 and you arrived and entered at approximately 8:28, approximately an hour later, somewhere in between that time, a search warrant was drawn up and provided to a judge who signed it to allow you to enter.
Correct.
That's some pretty fast work, no?
That's pretty typical for our agency.
Okay, so in other words,
They're pretty used to writing them pretty quick.
okay, so the incident happens, bing bang, you put the search warrant together and you're in.
Yes.
Okay. Now, just so we're clear and there's no confusion, and I don't mean to imply in any capacity that there was any sleight of hand involved. The actual weapon that was pictured in the slide was the gun that came out of the backpack,
Correct.
which I think is a Sig Sauer
The backpack was a 380, yes, Sig Sauer, I believe.
380.
It was a 380 in the backpack,
Right, not the 45.
not the 45.
Okay. And the photographs that were taken of Miss Benefield, some were taken that evening, correct?
Correct.
And then there was another opportunity to take a second set of photographs a couple of days later on October 1st.
Correct.
And why would there have been a second set of photographs taken on October 1st?
To see if any more bruising would come up, better pictures.
Yeah, in other words, a lot of times bruises are not readily apparent immediately and they develop over the course of a day, 2, 3 days.
Correct.
Okay. Now, give me just a moment, please. Okay. All right, Ms. Conlone, I want to ask you a few questions with the help of my very able-bodied assistant, Mr. O'Keefe. And we're going to put a few of those photographs up. I want to ask you some questions about them.
If you're going to refer to any that are already in evidence, I'd prefer we use the ones that are already marked. If there's additional ones, then obviously you can lay the predicate or get a stipulation for admissibility.
I just want to see state's evidence.
Mr. Chairman, if you would like to look at that. She does.
If you're looking for 23 through 26, those are here.
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, is that the victim or the defendant?
These are photos of Miss Benefield.
That's what I mean.
And my notes reflect that 23 through 26 are photos from the night of the incident.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good. All right, Ms. Condon, let me direct your attention to the exhibit that is now up on the Elmo. I want to ask you, with respect to Ms. Benefield's left side of the face, specifically the left eyelid, does that appear to be the same size as the eyelid on the right, or does it appear to be swollen?
Objection.
Yeah, I'm going to sustain. I mean, I can see that for myself. I don't need the witness to narrate what the evidence is, unless there's something specific that you want to draw out about it. But
No, that's fine. The only other question I was going to ask was about the left cheek, Your Honor.
okay. But I also think that she didn't take these.
I understand.
Okay, go ahead. So I'm going to sustain.
Okay. With respect, Ms. Colon, to Ms. Benefield's left cheek, do you see that as swollen as compared to the right cheek?
Did you just?
Sustained.
All right. Next. This was a photograph that was taken when?
That was the night, the first night.
Okay. And this was taken by you?
No, that was taken by Megan.
By Megan. Are you familiar with this photograph?
I am.
All right. Does this photograph, it's hard to depict in this exhibit under the Elmo, does it show whether or not the scratch?
Objection, Judge.
Yeah.
Well, I understand, but let him finish the question. I don't know where he's going. It's not uncommon for lawyers to start this way and make a, not wrong turn, but left turn. So
I'll
go ahead.
withdraw the question.
Oh, no, ask your question, please, but I don't know where it was going.
I understand, but I also know what the ruling is, so.
If it's just to narrate
Out of
what's-
concern for the court's time,
Yeah,
I
I
understand.
mean, and then you can
Withdraw.
argue that, certainly,
I'll be able to argue it too. Your Honor.
absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, thank you.
Redirect?
Yes, briefly. Ms. Conlon, in your many years at the Sheriff's Office, you've responded to homicide scenes regularly.
Yes.
And is it your understanding from your experience that a lot happens prior to your actually getting called out?
Yes.
And so at if you get a call out at 7:37, you can't say how long law enforcement had been on scene prior to your getting there, can you?
No,
Because in theory, patrol arrives first.
correct.
And at some point, there's a determination that there's a homicide before the homicide unit gets called out?
Correct.
And are you next in line after the homicide unit?
Yes. Yes.
And you're not the person writing the search warrant, you just wait before you enter?
Correct.
Thank you. Nothing else, Judge.
Sir?
Nothing further.
All right, can this witness be released, State?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor? All right, may you release from your subpoena. Thank you very much.